Well, thank you all for coming here today, and welcome to our Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister Sudds, Minister Ian, MPs Fragiskatos and Kayabaga. We're all delighted you're here, as well as Mayor Joe Preston, for this exciting announcement that has to do with childcare, something near and dear to the YMCA, where I'm the CEO here in southwestern Ontario. And childcare is so critically important to our society and our community, and we believe that very strongly at the Y. It hits three big E's that are so important: equity, the economy, and the education, early childhood education for our young people. So we're delighted you're here to make this exciting announcement. And with that, I'll step off and let that begin.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Great to see you. You too. Je suis très heureux d'être ici avec plusieurs membres de notre équipe, Chrystia, Jenna, Marci, Ariel, et Peter. It's also great to be here with the Mayor of St. Thomas, Joe Preston, who we've kept busy with this big announcement over the past months, but lots of work to do to build up the community and the infrastructure. Lots of exciting things going on. But before I begin, I want to highlight that I just spoke with President Zelensky of Ukraine, where we discussed the current situation. I reiterated Canada's support and our commitment to delivering a successful first peace summit in the coming weeks. We all need to make sure everywhere around the world that we're standing strong for Ukraine, for democracy, and for international law. Like I said, it's great to be back here in St. Thomas. It's great to be here to talk about childcare, because we really get to connect the dots on what we're doing to build strong communities. As you know, in 2011, when a major auto assembly plant closed here in St. Thomas, a lot of people lost their jobs. The previous Conservative government basically threw up their hands and kind of shrugged. But we have been working for 8 years to bring back manufacturing jobs to Canada and build those manufacturing jobs for the future in areas where it's going to feed not just jobs, but careers in strong communities right across the country. And it's happening right here because Volkswagen has chosen St. Thomas to build their first ever overseas battery factory. On top of creating and securing good jobs for the community, we want to make sure workers know that we're here to support them and their families. This is why we've been investing in $10 a day childcare. The federal government, together with provinces, territories, and Indigenous governments, is doing something historic that has never been done before. We're building a Canada-wide, high-quality, affordable childcare system. Le but de notre système de garderie, c'est d'offrir des frais abordables pour les familles et des bonnes conditions de travail pour les éducatrices et les éducateurs. Et quand on investit pour bâtir plus de logements partout au pays, on tient compte des besoins en garderie dans notre planification pour que les familles aient des services là où elles vivent et travaillent. More than 750,000 kids have already benefited from affordable childcare because of the investments we've made. Some families are saving over $14,000 per child per year because of the investments we've made. When we talk about fairness for every generation, this is what we mean. Now, we're working with provinces and territories to reach agreements to ensure that even more families have access to affordable childcare. Here in Ontario, we'll invest over $200 million in childcare infrastructure to create more spaces and greater access for Ontario families. This investment will help Ontario reach our goal of creating 86,000 new childcare spaces by 2026. En plus de ça, dans le budget, on lance un nouveau programme de prêt pour l'expansion des services de garde pour aider les fournisseurs publics et sans but lucratif de créer des nouvelles places et à rénover. I want to pause here for a second to thank educators who work so hard every day, just like the ones I'm seeing here at the Station View YMCA Child Care Center. Your jobs are not easy, but you're there for our kids day in and day out. I want you to know that we're here for you as well. When we created a Canada-wide childcare plan, all of our agreements with provinces and territories had funding for workforce improvements, including our $10 billion agreement with Ontario. Right across the country, work is being done on wages, pensions, and retention. And we're confident that working conditions will improve for educators and staff here in Ontario as well. Si on veut créer plus de places en garderie, ça prend plus d'éducateurs. C'est pour ça qu'on investit dans la formation des éducateurs de la petite enfance. We're also offering student loan forgiveness for rural and remote early childhood educators, similar to the programs we're already offering for rural doctors and nurses. This will help attract and retain talent where it's needed most. When conservative politicians say they'll vote against the budget, this is what they're voting against. They're voting against more $10 a day childcare spaces. They're voting against more support for educators. Affordable childcare means more parents, especially moms, don't have to choose between their family and their career. This is something that every politician should be able to get behind, but the Conservative Party continues to vote against it. Des garderies de qualité à des prix abordables, c'est pas seulement bon pour les familles, c'est aussi bon pour l'économie. Grâce à nos investissements dans les services de garde, la participation des femmes au marché du travail a atteint des niveaux records ici au Canada. Pierre Poilievre's vision for this country is that the number one priority for the government should be to do less for Canadians. Well, he's not connecting the dots. When we attract a company like Volkswagen that invests to produce EV batteries here in St. Thomas, we grow the economy and we fight climate change. When we invest in childcare, we support hardworking families and the economy. Social policy is economic policy, is climate policy. Being able to offer the best start in life to kids, like here at the Station View YMCA in St. Thomas, and being able to tell them, if you want to grow up to be an engineer at the auto plant in your community, well, there'll be a job waiting for you. This is our vision, so that every generation can have a real and fair chance at success. Thank you everyone for being here today. Now I'm very happy to pass it over to the Deputy Prime Minister. Chrystia.
I'll figure it out. There we go.
He is a little bit taller than I am, though. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much, Prime Minister. I am so glad to be here with the Prime Minister, with my colleagues Jenna Sudds and Marci, with Peter Fragiscatos and Ariel Cayabaga, and I am especially glad to be here with the team from the YMCA, with Andrew, and with the incredible early learning and childcare workers who are here. I had a chance to meet an amazing woman called Danielle. She's been working in early learning and childcare for more than 20 years. She told me it's the best job in the world because it's so important. And we are so lucky to have people like Danielle be raising our kids across the country and giving them the best possible start in life. And Andrew will be glad to hear that she also told me how great it is to work in this amazing new early learning and childcare center. It's just 8 months old, and it's been designed with kids in mind. If you look around, windows are at kid height. There are lots of natural surfaces for children to touch and see. This is exactly the kind of place where we want St. Thomas's children, where we want Canada's children to grow and learn and flourish. Notre budget vise à donner une chance équitable à chaque génération, surtout aux jeunes Canadiens et Canadiennes. C'est pourquoi une grande partie de notre plan consiste à aider les jeunes parents partout au Canada en améliorant l'accès à des services de garde et de l'apprentissage de jeunes enfants à prix abordable. Les garderies coûtent cher. Sans l'aide du gouvernement, les frais à payer chaque mois peuvent facilement équivaloir à un paiement de loyer ou à un paiement hypothécaire de plus. Young people, and let's be honest, young women all too often have to choose between having a family and having a career. That is just not right. It's not fair. And our government is changing that. That's why 3 years ago, we did something truly historic and launched our Canada-wide system of affordable early learning and childcare. And we have delivered. Today, childcare fees are down by at least 50% across Canada. In 8 provinces and territories, childcare costs just $10 a day. And this year, families here in Ontario are saving up to $8,500 per child. Early learning and childcare is feminist social policy, and we are proud of that. It is also feminist economic policy. Our affordable system of early learning and childcare has already enabled a near record high labor force participation rate of 85.5% for working age Canadian women. And that is driving jobs and growth for us all. C'est un progrès incroyable, mais il faut en faire davantage. Quand on parle aux jeunes parents, ils nous disent à quel point c'est difficile de trouver une place en garderie. C'est pourquoi nous créons davantage de places en garderie d'un bout à l'autre du Canada pour aider à fournir ce dont nous avons besoin. Plus de places dans des merveilleuses garderies comme la vôtre, la garderie YMCA Stationville. We need more childcare places in beautiful early learning and childcare centers like this one. I'm going to conclude by sharing some great economic news. Last week, we learned that Canada and Canadians added almost 90,000 new jobs in April, blowing past expectations. That means that today, almost 1.3 million more Canadians are working compared to before the pandemic. The OECD expects the Canadian economy to see the second fastest rate of growth among the G7 this year, and the very fastest rate of growth in 2025, tied with the US. And last month, Moody's, one of the leading credit ratings agencies, reaffirmed Canada's AAA credit rating with a stable outlook. Moody's also predicts that over the medium term, Canada will see stronger economic growth than some other AAA economies, and that inflation will be near the Bank of Canada's midpoint target of 2%. These are really powerful economic proof points. They show that Canada's economy is strong and resilient. They show that our economic plan is fiscally responsible. And that really matters, because it means that we can afford to make the investments that Canada needs and create the good jobs that Canadians need. It means the federal government can responsibly invest and borrow at lower costs, as can other orders of government and Canadian businesses. It also shows that Pierre Poilievre would rather make inflammatory statements and mislead Canadians than admit the truth, that our government's plan is fiscally responsible, AAA rated. The reality is that the Conservative leader just doesn't want to make the necessary investments in early learning and childcare, in building more homes faster, or in growing our economy with investments like the historic VW investment here. He doesn't want to ask the wealthiest Canadians to pay their fair share so that we can deliver these opportunities that younger Canadians need and deserve. Pendant que le Parti conservateur cherche toutes les excuses possibles pour réduire les investissements dans les Canadiennes et les Canadiens, notre gouvernement agit dès maintenant. Et il le fait résolument dans le cadre d'un plan économique financièrement responsable, parce que les jeunes Canadiens et Canadiens comptent sur nous. Thank you so much, and I will now hand it over to my colleague, Minister Jenna Sudds. Jenna.
Amazing. Thank you, Chrystia. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. It's really a pleasure to be here today with my incredible colleagues, with you, Prime Minister, and of course with the team from the YMCA. It is facilities like these that enable families to be able to rely on affordable, high-quality care with comfort as they go off to work. And we know that childcare is and has historically been expensive. I recall when my children were born, each time trying to get them on a wait list, trying to get into childcare. and I wasn't able to get into the centers that I had chosen. This was back before we rolled out our National Early Learning and Childcare System, where we've put forward a plan to build over 100,000 spaces already and 250,000 spaces by the end of this plan. We're working with the provinces and territories to ensure that families across this country can rely on us and can find affordable, high-quality care for their little ones. Childcare, as I said, historically has been expensive. My payment, and I know many Canadians, have paid more than a mortgage payment when they were looking for care. Already, we've seen across this country, our plan has reduced fees by over 50%, and in 8 provinces and territories has already reached $10 a day. Here in Ontario, that means over $8,500 in saving per child every year for Ontario families. Here in Ontario, over 300,000 kids have already been able to access these affordable spaces. There's more work to do, and announcements like today's, our announcement of $200 million to help build more spaces, mean that more families will be able to access the care that they need at affordable rates. Budget 2024 also put forward $1 billion to support the expansion of non-for-profit spaces or public spaces with loans for non-for-profits and public enterprises. We'll continue to put our foot on the gas to ensure that more spaces are created so that every family will be able to find the space that they need. This work, along with the provinces and territories, is critical as we move forward. As the Prime Minister has so rightly said, the Conservatives continue to oppose the good work that we are putting forward to support Canadian families, whether that's voting against increased funding for more childcare spaces, whether that's voting against dental care. We continue to see them oppose, but we will not be deterred. We will continue to do the work to ensure that every child across this country has the best possible start in life. Thank you very much, and I'll pass to my colleague, Minister Ian.
Good morning, everyone. Salut. It's good to see everybody. As I walked in this morning, I said to Andrew, you know, you walk into a place sometimes and you just feel good vibes. And I walked in, and I said, Andrew, there's some great stuff going on in here, but I've been learning a little bit about biophilia lately, bringing the outdoors in, and in every single room that we've been in, there is green, there is light, there are tactile things, natural things, as the Deputy Prime Minister said, that kids can touch and feel and enjoy, and it just makes the space vibrant, and it makes it green. And that's what we want things to do. Andrew said, yeah, this is what we want right across Canada, and this is wonderful. Station View Wide, this is awesome. It's great to be with you. So I used to tell stories for a living, other people's stories. And now I find that in this job, it's people's journeys that actually highlight what our government is doing are the most effective way to tell the stories of what we're doing, to show people what we're doing. So years ago, and when I say years, I think it might be 10, I interviewed the feminist icon Gloria Steinem, and she'd just written this book called My Life on the Road, and she said, Marci, it's because I am. I'm on the road all the time, I'm hardly at home. And so she shared these amazing details about these tours that she did of hundreds of universities and colleges right across the world. And she shared the questions that students asked her. And so even back then, I kind of zoomed in on what women were asking. I said, Gloria, so tell me about these questions and what are people asking you? And she said, Marci, to a person, female students overwhelmingly were asking about balance. They had worked hard in school, they were about to graduate, they were looking forward to these amazing careers, but they said basically, how can we even do it all? How do we balance family? How do we balance work? They were asking about choice. And today, we're focusing on just that, a policy that gives women in particular more choice. Don't have to make that choice between family and career. You can have both. Aujourd'hui, on vous parle de politique qui permettent de jongler travail et famille. So, as you've heard, and rightly so, this isn't just about social policy, this is solid economic policy as well. And I like numbers a lot, so I'm always looking at numbers and data and saying, okay, how can we tell this story? How can we show our work? And the numbers show our work. So thanks to the government's historic investment in childcare, more women are working more than ever. The Deputy Prime Minister said 85.5. Chrystia, I rounded it up. So I'm saying 86% of women are in the workforce. That is unprecedented, and that is directly connected to our childcare plan, our national childcare plan. And I hear about this across the country. I talk to families, I talk to women. Jenna was talking about her kids and childcare and how hard it was. I was in the same boat. And it was really hard, and literally it was a mortgage payment. It would be, a house payment, the amount of money that was going towards childcare. This is helping with that. People, families are saving money, and the numbers show it. By supporting parents' ability to work, we're not just nurturing families, we're actually enhancing productivity. We're fostering a more robust economic future for all Canadians, and that is fair. Affordable childcare means women and parents can pursue professional goals if they so choose, and know their kids will be cared for in great spaces like this one. So I too talked to Danielle for a second or two, Chrystia, and I said to her as we walked into this room, Danielle, thank you for every single thing. She had about 7 kids all around her. They were almost hanging off of her. But the love was there, the care was there. I said, Danielle, thank you for everything you do. She said, well, I wouldn't want it any other way. So thank you, Danielle. Thank you to all of you for every single thing. Such a huge shout out. These are childcare workers like those across the country that are literally nurturing our most precious commodity, our kids. And we can't say thank you enough. And just to end, and my colleagues and the Prime Minister has said it very, very well, we need to be very clear about what Pierre Poilievre and what Conservatives are saying when they're voting against Budget 2024. They are voting against childcare. They are voting against a national nutritional food program. They are voting against pharmacare. They are voting against dental care. They are voting against things that Canadians tell me and tell us that they hold near and dear and that they need. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.